you today. So I started my fashion line, Carrie Hammer, in 2012 out of my own personal frustration with the lack of professional yet feminine clothing for women. And ladies, I think you know what I'm talking about, right? Yes, exactly. Someone here knows. But when I entered fashion from advertising, I learned that the business of beauty is very ugly. So I decided to start a revolution. I call it the Runway Revolution. Yay, one clap. And so today I'm going to tell you how I did it and what it's all about. In the past 2 years, my company has had 5 viral fashion shows during fashion weeks all over the world. How did we do it? I'll let you in on the secret. Sex. Doesn't sell. Authenticity sells. To go viral, you have to have a virus. You have to stand for something greater, for something positive. Well, my carrier cell is my fashion line, and my fashion shows during New York Fashion Week. My virus is empowering women and changing the global definition of beauty. So let me start from the beginning. I was asked to show at New York Fashion Week 2 years ago, and my stylist and I were kind of going through the checklist. You know, everything you need, lighting, DJ, et cetera. And we got down to models. And she said, Carrie, what are we doing? Are we hosting a model casting? I said, ugh, nothing sounds worse than holding a modeling casting. You see, how I met my stylist is we were styling a hair show in New Jersey. No judging, because we all have to start somewhere. And guess how old the youngest model was when we showed up? 12. She showed up with her algebra homework. And when we were done, when she was done with her hair and makeup and we were done dressing and styling her, she looked like she was 30. And that was the first time I realized and had to experience firsthand that this is what was happening everywhere in fashion and advertising, and then this was the beauty standard that we're all being held to. I'd guess the average age on this runway is about 16. So anyway, we're kind of going over this story, and she's like, oh yeah, that was gross. And I was like, you know, Angie, I just can't send traditional models down the runway when all of our clients are such role models. And that was a lightning bolt moment for me. As I said those words, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna do role models, not runway models. And that's what we did. This is our first show. We had the likes of the founder of The Daily Show, the head of the Google Fiber project, multi-billion-dollar project, head of new products at ABC. And the women, you can see here, the women who walk that runway, they exude confidence and passion, excitement. They don't have to fake it because they're the real deal. So one of the models we cast in that show was super sexy, a leggy blonde, a doctor, a sex therapist at that. She just happened to be in a wheelchair. Dr. Danielle Shapuk is a fantastic, long-standing client and friend of mine, and she happens to have a disability. But it does not define her, like my blue eyes do not define me. Doesn't she look great? Like a little too sexy with a leg at the end. I was like, Danielle, off-brand. So that first show was fantastic. Some of the people said it was one of the best shows they'd ever been to, and the energy in the room was so electric. I was so excited. And then we got no press. I was devastated. I thought people who came to the show would understand that role model was the new definition and true definition of beauty. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from a friend. She goes, Carrie, rush to your computer. Go open your Facebook. Okay. And I did. There was an article that was liked 10,000 times, shared 3,000 times in 21 minutes. The very definition of viral. It turns out that one reporter who had come to the show did her homework, which I guess took a while, and found out that Danielle was the first ever model on the runway during New York Fashion Week that happened to be in a wheelchair. She and I didn't even know. We had never meant to make that kind of statement. But it turned out to be amazing because she and I got hundreds of emails from girls saying how it changed their lives and changed how they saw themselves. That was my second lightning bolt moment when I read these emails. This wasn't just another fashion show. This was my platform for change. This was the Runway Revolution. See, the women who walk my runway are so diverse in size and shape, in color, ability, age. So many of the people who reached out to me told me, Carrie, I've never seen myself reflected on the runway. I never see myself reflected to me positively or powerfully. Can you imagine going through your daily life? And I mean, a lot of us do. Go through our daily life, we see 10,000 images every day. Never seeing yourself reflected positively back to you. Some of these images, or some of these emails and tweets and comments really shocked me, and some shook me to the core, two of which changed my life forever. One was from an amazing woman named Karen Crespo in LA. She contracted bacterial meningitis 3 years ago and lost all of her limbs. She said after seeing this, she realized for the first time in her life, her purpose was to show other people that they could be beautiful no matter what. Another email was a mother who told me, Carrie, this is so important to me. I have a daughter who was born with an extra chromosome. That means she has Down syndrome. I'm so afraid she won't have any of the employment opportunities her brothers and her peers do. Can you provide her a role model? Oh my gosh, of course. So this is Karen. We asked her to walk on the show, the first woman speaking of. She was super great. She did a sexy wink at the end of the runway. And then we asked Jamie Brewer, a very famous actress on television in America. She's on American Horror Story, and she happens to have Down syndrome. And she provided to be an extraordinary role model to Grace and many millions of other people worldwide. After these two shows, it was trending #1 on Facebook, Twitter, and it was just an incredible outpouring of support once again, this time globally. Le Monde, Daily Mail, Huffington Post. And the great thing about fashion is they're famous for copying what works. Here's two shows just 1 year after our very first one. I'm happy to say 30 brands have joined the Runway Revolution, including body-positive models, powerful women, and women of all sorts of disabilities. Kenneth Cole, Uniqlo, Anthropologie, Nordstrom, and even the Queen Bee herself, Beyonce. So you know we've made it. Yeah. But I hope this serves as a tipping point and not a trend, because we spend more on beauty than social services and education combined in America. Yet only 4% of women self-identify as beautiful. That's only 6 people in this room. So, and then Instagram also did something amazing. The way we see women is the way we treat women. Overwhelmingly, we see women like this. It's time to flip the script and shift the paradigms towards role models, not runway models. These are my ladies. I'll leave you with this, and hopefully you've had your own lightning bolt moment by now. But there is an old parable. 2 fish swim past each other. One fish goes to the other, "Hey, water's great today." The other goes, "What's water?" So what water and paradigms are we all swimming in? Are you swimming in your life, in your business, where it's time to question it? Take a second look. Because what I've realized is that what we do matters beyond what we do. What paradigm are you going to take a look at and change, and what are you going to do about it? Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you.
Want to be in the audience next time? Click here for tickets to Inspirefest 2017.